The Galactic Council was in session, as it had been for centuries. Representatives from countless alien species gathered in a massive, circular chamber, floating in the heart of the galaxy. Their discussions, usually focused on trade agreements, diplomatic relations, and the preservation of peace, had always been civil, even when tensions were high. But today was different. Today, there was an undercurrent of unease. The Council had been receiving strange signals from the edge of the galaxy, an area no one had dared to enter for centuries. These signals were unlike any they had encountered before. They were human. At first, the Council dismissed it as a mistake. Humans were a primitive species, isolated on a tiny blue planet on the outskirts of the galaxy. Their technology was far behind the Council's. Their ships were small, their weapons primitive, and their governments divided. The Council couldn't imagine that such a species could pose any threat. But the signals kept coming. Not random bursts of data, but structured transmissions, almost as if someone was intentionally reaching out to them. And these signals were growing stronger, more frequent. It was as if the humans were calling the Council out. A large holographic display lit up in the center of the room. The face of the Council's head representative, an ancient being from the Andromeda system, appeared. His many eyes narrowed as he looked at the data on the screen. "We are receiving a transmission from a human ship," he said, his voice grave. "But it cannot be." "Impossible," muttered a representative from the insectoid species of Zoltran. "The humans are nothing. Their civilization is barely more advanced than ours was 1,000 years ago." Another Council member, a sleek, silver-skinned creature from the Sci-Fi sector, disagreed. "The signals are organized. If this is a human ship, it means they have found a way to transcend their limitations. We must consider the possibility that we are dealing with something different." The room grew tense as everyone fell silent. The idea that humans could have advanced beyond their primitive beginnings was not something anyone wanted to entertain. Yet the evidence was undeniable. The head representative spoke again, his voice a mix of authority and unease. "Prepare for the arrival of this human vessel. We will meet them in neutral space." A chill ran through the Council as they realized what they were about to face. For the first time in galactic history, they would have to confront a species that had been left behind in the great race for power. But this wasn't just any species. It was humans, the very same humans they had underestimated, dismissed, and ignored. In the silence that followed, one question echoed in every mind. Was the galaxy ready for the arrival of the first human battleship? This opening sets the stage for the mysterious arrival of the human battleship and introduces the tension among the Galactic Council. It hints at the impending threat and raises questions about humanity's power, making it an engaging start. The human ship, the Valiant Horizon, arrived at the border of the Galactic Council's space with quiet precision. It was unlike any ship the Council had ever seen, huge, sleek, and powerful. It hovered there in deep silence, making no attempts to communicate. The Council representatives, who had once believed the human race to be weak and insignificant, now watched in stunned disbelief. For many, it was impossible to understand. How had the humans reached this level of power so quickly? The Council had heard rumors, but nothing that could explain this massive ship, capable of silencing the stars themselves with its sheer presence. The Council's head representative, the ancient being from Andromeda, stood and addressed the gathered members. His voice echoed through the chamber, grave and steady. "We must act swiftly. Send the human envoy a message. Let us arrange a meeting." A tense silence fell over the room. The other representatives exchanged uncertain glances. The insects of Zoltran hissed quietly, a sign of their distrust. "Send them a message." One of them growled. "Why not destroy their ship? Let them know we are not afraid." "No," replied the head representative. "We must meet them first. Violence would be foolish. We have no understanding of their capabilities." A communication signal was sent to the Valiant Horizon. Within moments, a clear image of a human envoy appeared before the Council. A man, dressed in formal attire, stood confidently in front of the screen. His posture was straight, his expression calm, though there was an undeniable sense of strength about him. His eyes were focused, and his voice, when he spoke, carried the weight of someone who had seen much. "We come in peace," the human envoy said. "Our fleet is here not to conquer, but to demonstrate the strength of our people. We ask for your cooperation, not conflict." A murmur of surprise rippled through the council. Peace. Cooperation. This wasn't what they had expected. The head representative raised his hand, silencing the room. "You ask for cooperation, human. But the strength you demonstrate is clear. Why should we believe you? Why not simply demand our surrender?" The human envoy smiled slightly, a knowing look in his eyes. "Because we do not need your surrender. We need your understanding. We are not here to rule over you. We are here to offer something different. Humanity is ready to join the galactic community, on our terms." The council members bristled at his words. Some were offended, others nervous. The insects of Zoltran clicked their mandibles, displeased with the humans' boldness. They had expected the humans to beg for attention, not demand equality. "Your terms," the silver-skinned Sci-Fi representative asked sharply. "You think we will simply accept your conditions? You are nothing more than a fledgling species, barely out of the cradle. You have no place here among us." The human envoy did not flinch. "Perhaps you're right," he said calmly. "But we will not beg for your acceptance. We are simply here to show you that humanity does not ask for permission. We act. And the galaxy will learn to respect that." The room fell silent again, this time with an edge of fear. The human envoy's message was clear. The humans would not bow. The Galactic Council was facing something far beyond its expectations, and they didn't know how to respond. This part continues to build on the tension, showing how the human envoy offers diplomacy, but with a sense of superiority and strength. The Galactic Council, once confident in its power, now faces a new challenge in the form of humanity's bold approach. The Galactic Council had never seen anything like it. As the human envoy's message ended, the council members sat in stunned silence. Their holographic screens flickered, and the images of the representatives were momentarily distorted, as if the very presence of the valiant horizon was too much to process. Outside, in the deep void of space, the massive human battleship stood, looming like a dark shadow. A signal was sent to the council from the valiant horizon. This time, it wasn't a simple message, but a display, a demonstration of the ship's power. The human crew had prepared something special for their first meeting with the galaxy's most powerful races. The massive ship moved slowly, almost as if it were testing the waters. It crossed into neutral space, moving toward the Galactic Council's headquarters at a calm, controlled pace. Its sleek design was unlike anything the Council had ever seen. Smooth, angular surfaces gleamed against the backdrop of the stars. It wasn't just large, it was perfect, every detail finely crafted, every inch of it designed for strength and efficiency. A representative from the Sci-Fi race, a species known for their sharp, crystalline eyes, was the first to speak. "What is this? What kind of technology is this?" A murmur of agreement spread through the room. No one had ever seen a ship of this size and precision. It wasn't like anything they had imagined from human records. No one had expected the humans to arrive with such a powerful weapon, let alone a vessel that seemed capable of reshaping the galaxy's balance of power. The ship's engines hummed to life, and the council watched in awe as the valiant horizon shifted into a higher gear, gliding gracefully past planetary systems. It moved effortlessly, as if gravity had no hold on it. The entire council chamber was silent, the members mesmerized by the ship's sheer presence. Then, without warning, the ship turned and aimed directly at the council's space station. A gasp ran through the room as the ship loomed closer. But instead of attacking, the valiant horizon simply hovered there, a powerful, unblinking eye watching them all. "This is impossible," whispered a Sci-Fi representative, her silver skin shimmering with nervous energy. "They could obliterate us with one move. Why have they not?" "They are showing us mercy," said the Zalfar representative, his voice trembling. "But mercy does not last forever." At that moment, the image of the ship on the screen shifted. A massive display appeared, showing the inside of the Valiant Horizon. The camera zoomed in on the human crew, young and old, some dressed in formal uniforms, others wearing simple combat attire. They moved with purpose, calm, and controlled. There was no fear in their eyes, no hesitation. The message from the human captain was simple and direct. "This is our strength. It is not a threat, but a promise. The galaxy will respect us, or it will feel the consequences." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. No one had expected this. The humans, once thought weak and insignificant, had arrived in force, showing that they were not to be underestimated. They were not here to negotiate or beg for acceptance. They had come to claim their place among the stars, and the galaxy was about to learn the true meaning of respect. This part focuses on the awe and fear experienced by the Council as they witnessed the Valiant Horizon up close. It heightens the tension and shows that the humans' arrival isn't just a visit. It's a force to be reckoned with. The mystery surrounding their power continues to grow, and the Council begins to realize that they may have misjudged humanity. The silence in the Galactic Council chamber was deafening. As the Valiant Horizon hovered just beyond their reach, its massive form filling the view screen, the council members exchanged uneasy glances. They had seen the ship's power, felt the weight of its presence, but now the humans were offering them something more, a glimpse into the heart of their technology. It was a moment of realization. The human envoy, the same calm man who had spoken earlier, appeared once again on the large display screen. His face was composed, but there was a subtle glimmer of pride in his eyes. He had already demonstrated the power of the human battleship, but now he was about to reveal something even more unsettling. "This," the envoy said, "is just the beginning." The council members shifted nervously. "What do you mean?" one of the representatives from the Krillai species asked, his voice full of uncertainty. The human envoy smiled slightly, his voice steady and filled with authority. "What you are looking at is the Valiant Horizon. It is the first of many ships, and it is not just a warship. It is a symbol of human ingenuity. Our fleet is already growing, and with it, our influence." A sense of disbelief swept through the room. The council had thought the humans would be content with this single ship, that it was an isolated incident. But now it was clear that they had underestimated humanity. This was no accident. The humans were not a single, isolated species. They had come to the galaxy with the intention of expanding. "How many more?" asked the head representative from Andromeda, his voice barely above a whisper. The human envoy paused, letting the question hang in the air. "A fleet. A fully equipped, self-sustaining fleet, capable of covering vast stretches of the galaxy. Each ship more advanced than the last." A chill ran down the spines of the council members. This wasn't just one powerful ship. The humans had come prepared. They had come to dominate. The envoy continued, his tone unwavering. "But we do not ask for your approval. We do not need your permission. We come to show you that humanity is ready to take its place among the stars." The Sci-Fi representative, still visibly shaken, spoke up. "You speak of dominance, but we are the ones in control here. The Council has held the galaxy together for millennia. Do you really think you can simply walk in and claim your place?" The human envoy's smile never wavered. "Not walk in. Take our place. We've already begun, and we will not stop. The galaxy will have to adjust to our presence. There is no room for hesitation." A murmur spread through the room. The once unified Galactic Council was now divided. Some began to see the wisdom in the humans' direct approach, while others, fearing their power, felt the need to retaliate. But none of them were ready for what would come next. As if to prove his point, the envoy activated a hologram that projected the design of a new weapon. A sleek, terrifyingly advanced cannon that could easily obliterate entire fleets in seconds. The council members froze, staring at the weapon. It was clear that humanity wasn't just showing off. They were here to stay, and they were armed with the power to back it up. The envoy's voice broke through the tension. "We have shown you our strength. Now we will show you our resolve. The galaxy can either adapt or it will fall behind." The council was left with a hard truth. Humanity was no longer a species to be ignored. They had arrived, and the galaxy would have to choose whether to stand with them or against them. This part reveals the full scope of humanity's plans, emphasizing the power and preparedness they have brought to the galaxy. The tension rises as the council begins to understand that humanity's arrival is no fluke. It's the beginning of a new era. The council chamber was alive with chaos. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy were in an uproar, their voices rising and falling in a chorus of disbelief, anger, and fear. The human envoy's message had sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council, and now no one could agree on how to respond. "We cannot allow this," shouted the Zoltron representative, his voice sharp and shrill. "The humans are making a mockery of us. They think they can just waltz in here and demand respect." The insectoid creatures of Zoltron were known for their fierce loyalty to tradition, and they had never been ones to back down from a challenge. To them, the rise of humanity was an affront to the status quo. The Sci-Fi representative, whose silvery skin reflected the chamber's light, spoke next. "We need to be careful. These humans, they have demonstrated power far beyond our expectations, but that does not mean we should bend to their will." She hesitated, her normally confident voice now laced with uncertainty. "Perhaps we should begin discussions with them, offer a more diplomatic solution." The Krillai representative, a tall figure with translucent wings, shook their head. "Diplomacy. They have no interest in diplomacy. We've seen their weapons. They want to control the galaxy, and they are willing to destroy anyone who stands in their way." The room grew even more tense. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their minds racing as they tried to come to terms with what they had just learned. Humanity, a species once thought insignificant, had arrived with a power that threatened the very balance of the galaxy. They had not only the strength to dominate, but the resolve to see it through. The head representative from Andromeda, an ancient being with many eyes, raised a hand, and the room quieted. His voice, calm yet firm, cut through the noise. "We must not make hasty decisions. Fear will only lead to mistakes. We need to assess the situation properly." "But what if they don't give us time to assess?" a representative from the Hadris system asked, his voice tinged with panic. "What if they attack before we even have a chance to respond? Their weapons, those cannons, they could wipe out entire fleets in seconds." The council fell silent at the mention of the human weapon. The image of it, displayed during the envoy's message, still lingered in their minds. It was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Sleek, deadly, and capable of destroying fleets with terrifying efficiency. No one had any illusions left about the humans' capabilities. Finally, the head representative from Andromeda spoke again. "We are not without options. We have allies. If the humans are truly as strong as they say, then perhaps it is time we reconsider our approach." The council members exchanged glances. Some were clearly unsettled by the idea of accepting the humans' demands. Others, however, saw an opportunity. Perhaps the rise of humanity could be an asset, a powerful new force to help maintain balance in the galaxy. But the question still hung in the air. Could the Galactic Council trust the humans? Or would humanity's desire to dominate lead to a new war, one that could tear the galaxy apart? No one had an answer yet, but the Council knew one thing for certain. Humanity was no longer a species to be ignored, and how they responded to this new threat, or opportunity, would shape the future of the galaxy. This part captures the growing tension within the Galactic Council as they debate how to respond to the overwhelming power of humanity. It shows the split opinions, ranging from fear to cautious optimism, and sets the stage for the Council's next steps in dealing with the human threat. The Galactic Council was still in turmoil after the humans' bold arrival. Their demonstration of power had left the council members divided. Some wanted to negotiate, others to prepare for war, but one faction of the council, led by the reptilian Darwin, was determined to prove their strength. They believed that showing force was the only way to stop the humans from taking over the galaxy. "We cannot let them continue to act as if they are in control," Darwin said, his voice low but full of authority. "We must strike before they strike us. If we don't, we risk losing everything." The council members watched him closely. The idea of taking immediate action was terrifying, but Darwin's influence was strong. With a small but loyal group behind him, he managed to persuade the council to send a fleet of ships to confront the human battleship. As the fleet assembled in the depths of space, the tension was palpable. Alien ships, sleek and powerful, prepared to face off against the valiant Horizon. The council representatives watched from their station, unsure of what would happen next. This was no longer a diplomatic mission. It was a test of power. The first shots were fired just as the human ship entered the edge of the fleet's range. It was a massive barrage of energy blasts from the alien ships, directed straight at the valiant Horizon. The blasts lit up the stars, creating a spectacle of light and fire. But then, something incredible happened. The human battleship didn't react the way the council expected. Instead of retaliating immediately, it moved with eerie precision, dodging every shot with an unnatural ease. The alien ships fired again and again, but each shot missed, as if the humans had anticipated their every move. The human ship, silent and deadly, glided between the alien ships. It wasn't just avoiding the fire, it was outmaneuvering them. And then, without warning, the valiant Horizon struck back. In a flash of light, the human ship launched a single, powerful shot. It hit one of the alien vessels with pinpoint accuracy, tearing through its shields and obliterating it in a single blast. The force of the blast sent shockwaves through space, and the other ships recoiled in fear. The remaining alien ships scrambled to regroup, but it was too late. The humans were far too fast. Another shot, another alien ship down. This time, the blast was so powerful that the shockwave sent several other ships spiraling out of control, crashing into each other in a chaotic mess of debris. The council members watched in stunned silence. They had underestimated the humans. What they thought would be a simple show of force had turned into a one-sided battle, with the humans clearly in control. The alien fleet was being destroyed one ship at a time, and they couldn't stop it. Darwin's fleet, once so confident in their power, was now fleeing, their ships breaking apart under the human onslaught. The valiant Horizon wasn't even using its full power, but its speed and precision were enough to overwhelm the fleet. The human envoy's earlier words echoed in the council's minds. "We do not negotiate. We dominate." It was clear now. The humans weren't here to make deals. They were here to rule. As the last of the alien ships retreated, the valiant Horizon hovered in space, untouched and calm. The battle was over, and the humans had won. The Council's grip on the galaxy was slipping. This part introduces the first real confrontation between humanity and the alien forces. It shows the immense power of the valiant Horizon and how humanity's superior technology and strategy completely outmatched the alien fleet. The battle is a clear victory for the humans, leaving the Council in shock and uncertainty about their next move. The news of the humans' victory spread like wildfire throughout the galaxy. The battle, once thought to be a simple confrontation, had turned into a humiliating defeat for the alien fleet. The destruction of the ships, the speed and precision of the valiant Horizon, left the Galactic Council in a state of shock. Their confidence had been shattered, and now they were faced with an undeniable truth. Humanity was not a species to be ignored. They were a force to be reckoned with. In the aftermath of the battle, the Council convened again, but this time, the atmosphere was different. There was no longer the same sense of superiority, no longer the usual calm control. The members were nervous, afraid. Even the most powerful factions in the Council had been humbled by the humans' display of strength. "We cannot allow this to continue," the Zoltron representative spoke, his voice bitter. "The humans have shown us that they are stronger than any of us imagined. If we don't act now, we risk losing everything." A low rumble of agreement echoed around the chamber, but it was not unanimous. Others were more cautious, unwilling to jump into another conflict so soon after such a decisive defeat. "The question now is not whether we can fight them," said the Sci-Fi representative, his silver skin reflecting the tension in the room. "The question is whether we can even stop them." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. For the first time in their history, they were facing a species that was not just strong, but strategic, intelligent, and relentless. Humanity had shown that they were capable of overwhelming force, and they weren't afraid to use it. The head representative from Andromeda, still calm despite the chaos around him, cleared his throat. "We must consider our options. The humans have made their intentions clear. They are here to stay, whether we like it or not. The question now is whether we will fight them or find a way to coexist." He paused, letting the gravity of his words sink in. "If we fight them, we risk a galactic war, one that could wipe out civilizations across the stars. If we try to coexist, we risk losing our autonomy. The humans do not negotiate. They dominate." A murmur of fear spread through the council. The idea of being dominated by another species was unacceptable to many, but the thought of war was equally terrifying. The humans had proven they could destroy fleets in seconds. No one knew if they could stand up to such power. At the same time, there were whispers of opportunity. Some saw this as a chance to form an alliance with the humans, to benefit from their strength. Others, fearful of what would come next, pushed for more drastic measures. "Perhaps there is a middle ground," suggested a representative from the Zolfar species. "What if we offer them something they want in exchange for our survival? There must be something we can give them." But the head representative shook his head. "They have not come for resources. They have come for control." The room fell silent. The realization was clear. Humanity's arrival was not just a challenge. It was a shift in the balance of the entire galaxy. The Council, once the ultimate authority, now faced a future where their power was no longer guaranteed. As the meeting broke up, the council members knew one thing for certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity had arrived, and the future was uncertain. This part explores the shift in the Galactic Council's power dynamic after the humans' victory. It shows how the council members now face fear, uncertainty, and the realization that humanity's arrival could change the entire galaxy. The debate about how to deal with the humans intensifies, leaving the Council in a state of confusion and vulnerability. The Galactic Council had never been more divided. The humiliating defeat at the hands of humanity had left a deep scar on the galaxy's once untouchable leaders. Many of the Council members had spent their lives convinced that their species were the apex of civilization. But now, in the face of the valiant Horizon and its immense power, the galaxy's elite were questioning everything. The head representative from Andromeda stood once more before the council, trying to restore some sense of order. His ancient eyes scanned the room, taking in the anxiety and fear that hung in the air. For centuries, the council had held the galaxy's fate in its hands. Now it was clear that humanity was reshaping the galaxy's future, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. "We are at a crossroads," the Andromedan leader said, his voice steady but laced with concern. "We have seen what the humans are capable of. Their strength, their resolve. It is unlike anything we've ever faced. We must decide how to move forward. The question now is not whether we can fight them, but whether we want to." The room was filled with uneasy murmurs. The council was struggling to find common ground. Some wanted to continue resisting, hoping they could somehow push back humanity's growing influence. Others, more pragmatic, realized the futility of such a stance. "What do we offer them?" asked a representative from the Sci-Fi sector. His once confident voice now sounded unsure. We cannot continue to fight. We have no chance against their might. Do we surrender? What do we have left to offer? The head representative raised his hand to silence the room. We will not surrender. But we must be clear in our intentions. We must offer something that will ensure our survival, not just our submission. A tense silence followed. The council knew that humanity was not interested in mere alliances. They were not here to negotiate as equals. They were here to dominate. It was becoming more clear that the humans didn't just want to be a part of the galaxy. They wanted to control it. The Andromedan leader continued, his voice heavy. The humans are not asking for our resources. They are not seeking trade. They seek respect. They want the galaxy to understand that they are no longer the underdogs. We can either adapt, or we can fight a war we cannot win. The council's representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The thought of bending the knee to humanity was repugnant to many, but the weight of the situation was undeniable. Humanity was not like the other species in the galaxy. They were driven by something different, a deep and unyielding belief in their own strength. Finally, a voice spoke from the back of the room. It was the representative from the Krillai system, a race known for their sharp intellect and careful strategy. We must offer them something that aligns with their terms, the Krillai representative said, his voice firm. Respect is key. We must acknowledge their power and give them the space to grow, but we must also find a way to secure our own place. We offer them a treaty, one that recognizes their strength but ensures that we are not erased. The head representative nodded slowly, considering the proposal. A treaty, then, a recognition of humanity's power. We offer them our submission in the form of respect, but not in the form of surrender. This is our only choice. With that, the council agreed. Humanity had shown that they were not a species to be underestimated. They had come with strength, and now the galaxy would have to learn to respect them. The human envoy's terms would be met. The Galactic Council had no other choice but to accept the inevitable. Humanity had arrived, and their place in the galaxy would be secured. This part focuses on the Council's final decision, as they reluctantly accept that humanity's power cannot be ignored. It sets the stage for a new era in the galaxy where humans are no longer the underdogs, but a dominant force to be reckoned with. The Council's decision to offer a treaty marks the beginning of humanity's official place among the stars. The Council chamber was filled with a heavy silence as the representatives from the various alien races waited for the human envoy to arrive. It had been decided. The Galactic Council would accept humanity's terms, acknowledging their strength and granting them a place in the galaxy. But as the human ships docked at the Council station, there was an undeniable tension in the air. The treaty that was to be signed would set the stage for a new era, one where humanity would be recognized as an equal, or perhaps more than that. The Council had already agreed to submit to the humans' terms, but the reality of what that meant was starting to settle in. Many of the Council members were uneasy, even angry, at the idea of yielding to a species they had once considered insignificant. The human envoy arrived, his confident stride and calm demeanor sending a ripple of unease through the room. His eyes scanned the council members as he approached the central table. Unlike the other representatives, who were still hesitant, the human's expression was unshaken, as if he had already won. "Good afternoon," the envoy said, his voice clear and unwavering. "I trust you are prepared to finalize our agreement." A ripple of tension spread through the chamber. The Sci-Fi representative, usually calm and composed, shifted in his seat. "We are ready to proceed. However, I must make it clear that while we respect your strength, there are conditions we still need to discuss." The envoy's eyes narrowed slightly, but his smile remained intact. "I'm afraid that is not how this works. We have already shown our strength. There are no further discussions. You either accept the terms as they are or risk a much darker path." The tension in the room grew palpable. Some of the council members exchanged uneasy glances, clearly regretting their earlier decision to accept the treaty. The Krillai representative spoke up, his voice cautious but firm. "You misunderstand, human. We are offering you respect, but we cannot allow the galaxy to be ruled by fear. There must be room for negotiation, for dialogue." The envoy's expression hardened. "We do not negotiate. We dominate. This is not a request. It is a demand." The words hung in the air, leaving the council members frozen in disbelief. The humans had made it clear that their power was not up for discussion. They had come to dominate, not to share power. The realization hit hard. The council had hoped for a partnership, but humanity had no interest in such an arrangement. "We've already proven our strength," the human envoy continued, his tone almost patronizing. "The choice is simple. You either accept our terms, or you face the consequences. I suggest you make your decision quickly." The silence that followed was deafening. For the first time in their long existence, the council members were faced with a simple truth. They were not in control anymore. The galaxy was no longer governed by their decisions. Humanity had shown them what it meant to take control, to assert dominance without hesitation. As the human envoy turned and walked away from the table, leaving the council members to their stunned silence, the future of the galaxy seemed uncertain. The treaty would be signed, but the price was clear. Humanity had claimed its place, and the council, once the supreme authority in the galaxy, had no choice but to bow to them. This part depicts the breakdown of diplomatic negotiations between the humans and the Galactic Council, where the humans make it clear that they are not seeking an equal partnership but rather dominance. The tension escalates as the Council realizes they are no longer in control, and humanity's position in the galaxy becomes undeniable. The Galactic Council was no longer what it had once been. The treaty had been signed, but it was clear that the balance of power had shifted beyond repair. Humanity, once dismissed as a primitive race, had claimed its place among the stars, and the Council's attempts to negotiate had only shown how powerless they truly were in the face of the human rise. The representatives sat in stunned silence, the weight of their decision pressing down on them like a heavy stone. The human envoy had left the council chamber with the confidence of someone who knew they had already won. The terms had been agreed upon, terms that favored humanity's dominance, not cooperation. Now, as the council members looked at the treaty they had signed, they knew that the galaxy had changed forever. "We have made a grave mistake," murmured the Sci-Fi representative, his silver skin reflecting the dim light of the chamber. "We thought we could control the humans. We thought we could talk to them. But they've shown us they are not interested in compromise." The Krillai representative, normally calm and calculating, spoke up with a rare edge to his voice. "They never were. We've underestimated them. The humans came to dominate, and we have given them that power." There was a long pause as the council members processed what had happened. The Andromedan leader, whose many eyes had seen countless empires rise and fall, spoke with a somber tone. "We did what we had to do. The humans are a force unlike anything we've encountered. The treaty was the only option. Now we must accept our place in a galaxy that will no longer be ruled by us." Outside, the valiant horizon lingered in the distance, its massive form a constant reminder of humanity's power. It was a ship unlike any other, and it symbolized the beginning of something new. The first of many ships, each more advanced than the last, ready to conquer, explore, and dominate. The human empire was born. Back in the council chamber, the discussion turned to how they would interact with humanity moving forward. They had agreed to recognize the humans as a dominant power, but the reality of what that meant was still sinking in. The treaty had been signed, but what would it mean for the future? "We must tread carefully," the Andromedan leader said, his voice weary. "Humanity has shown us their strength. We must find a way to coexist, but it will not be easy. They do not think like we do." The Zoltron representative, still angry at the defeat, growled in frustration. "Coexist? You call it coexistence? We have handed them the galaxy on a silver platter. They will not coexist with us. They will rule us." Despite the fear and bitterness that filled the room, The Council knew one undeniable truth. The human empire had begun. They could either accept it or risk angering a power that had already shown they could wipe out entire fleets without hesitation. In the weeks that followed, humanity's presence continued to expand. New human colonies were established across the galaxy, their fleets growing by the day. The once mighty Galactic Council, now reduced to a mere shadow of its former self, watched as the empire they had once ruled over was now under the control of humanity. And so, the galaxy moved into a new age, an age where humanity was no longer the underdog, but the dominant force in the stars. The beginning of the human empire was just the beginning of an era that would change the galaxy forever. This part wraps up the story with the realization that humanity has successfully claimed its place in the galaxy, beginning the rise of the human empire. It shows the Council's regret and fear, but also their acceptance of the inevitable. The shift in power is complete, and the galaxy will never be the same.